Really welcome to yourself as you arrive here this morning. And as you start to settle and find yourself in whatever position you need to be in to sit or lie in a way that invites a sense of both relaxed but also alert. And the theme for this meditation really is about noticing what's showing up. And this really is about noticing how life is showing up right now. This is life. This is life in this very moment. So the invitation in David Whyte's words is to start close in. And just the first verse of his poem, to start close in. Don't take the second or the third step. Start with the first thing close in. The step you don't want to take. And Thich Nhat Hanh says, we don't want to take that step because we're often afraid of what's there. He says, yet life waits patiently for true heroes. And his invitation is to start with the noticing so that you really know what it is that you're responding to. So in arriving to this practice and allowing that intention to notice, for that to be here, take a moment to settle and see what you're arriving with. To notice what you're arriving with in this body. And to notice what the mind is bringing as well in the form of emotions or thoughts. Internal weather check. So noticing, simply noticing what's here. And to see if it's possible to approach that noticing with a sense of deep curiosity. A curiosity that might also invite you to notice what it is you move towards or away from when it emerges. A curiosity that maybe enables you to see behind some of what's emerging in terms of the hopes and desires, the fears that are being concealed. This isn't about thinking. It's not about the concepts. It's about finding this place of noticing and seeing what emerges next. Knowing that as we bring that attention, that awareness to what's arising often dissolves. We notice the movement, the change. And in that noticing is a stillness. So when you find yourself noisy, that's a pointer to this place that's able to recognize the noise. And that shows the stillness is also present and available. Take a moment to notice your feet. To notice how life is showing up in the sensations of your feet. Noticing the lower legs. Noticing the knees and the upper legs. Bringing a deep curiosity, like you've never noticed them before. What is there that's here? Without attaching anything to it, without trying to make up stories, just a very simple noticing, without judgment, without attachment, and without trying to do anything about it. Noticing the hips, noticing the lower torso, the mid-torso, and the upper torso. Noticing what you notice. Noticing the shoulders and the arms. The back of the neck and the head. Noticing the face. Noticing the whole of the body. And the rise and the fall of each breath. And then noticing what is arising in the mind. What emotions or thoughts are coming into view. What is present? Is it possible to notice a thought and maybe give it a label that allows it to move on without becoming attached? Perhaps saying to yourself, oh, the thought about money is present. The thought about friends is present. Or the emotion or the feeling. To notice it as present. And to become deeply curious, what's the next thought that's going to arise? Or the next sensation that's going to call your attention? Like the cat watching for the mouse coming out of the mouse hole. Attentive, noticing. And then letting it go to look for the next one. Notice how they rise and then fall away like the waves on a beach. They move up the beach and then they drift away while the next wave gets ready. I'm going to leave a few moments of silence for you to stay with that noticing, and even to notice when you get distracted. The distraction is all part of what's here as well. So noticing what's arising, and then noticing what's arising next. Stay curious. Stay noticing while we have more silence, noticing what comes up, letting it go, and looking like the cat attentively for the next mouse to appear. When you're noticing, it may be possible too, not just to notice the thought and the next one. Is it possible to notice the space in between, however small it is? To pay attention to that gap between one thought and the next. Is it possible to notice that without trying to grab it or grasp it or chase it? It's like, can we notice the mouse hole before the mouse appears? Almost dancing between each thought emerging or each sensation or emotion calling our attention. Letting them pass us by, noticing they're present, but bringing that attention back to the space in between. As if walking down the pavement, noticing the people passing by while moving towards the space in between them. Noticing what's present over and over, but noticing that gap in between over and over. And it may be at some point that gap starts to get a little bit bigger. It might take days, weeks, months, or years. It may come and go. But in that gap, it becomes possible to see a little bit more clearly, away from the noise, or between the noise. And noticing how this flow of sensations, emotions, or thoughts that keep coming or keep flowing over like the droplets of a waterfall, how behind them are many layers of hopes and fears, of desires, of beliefs that we might also want to notice. Knowing that bringing our attention towards them in this way, bringing awareness to them, to hold them, enables us not only to see more clearly, also in the very process we notice what changes. And that change doesn't necessarily need us to react. And as we move towards the final stages of this practice, you can of course carry on. To recognize there's a quality of noticing, there's a quality to the curiosity that noticing brings, but also the stillness that it invites. Stillness alongside the movement and the kind of change and the actions that might follow. But nonetheless, a kind of quality of this observer, this observation. And in that space, it becomes possible to notice very simply what is real and what is made up. And my invitation would be that through your day to keep that question alive, to notice what is real here and what is being made up. And just to share some words from Kabir, who says, "Don't go outside your house to see the flowers. My friend, don't bother with that excursion. Inside your body there are flowers. One flower has 1,000 petals. That will do for a place to sit. Sitting there, you will have a glimpse of beauty inside the body and out of it, before gardens and after gardens." So you may well want to stay in this practice, looking inside at the flower inside. You may want to sit longer with the practice. And either way, the invitation is to stay with that quality of noticing through your day.